routes that are unnecessary. This proposal doesn't even add any new lanes or a Metro Express line that I would like to see. Remember that Virginia increased the sales tax in 2013 to cover needed transportation expenses. I feel that should be covered. Reason number 3 why I and you should oppose the proposed tolling of Route 66. Remember what happened to the temporary Dulles toll road. It's supposed to be free today, and we're still paying for it. If you, like me, take the toll road in from Loudoun County, you're already paying up to $17 a day, and it doesn't include parking at your office, wear and tear, all those other costs. So that's over $700 a month for people like me, and I just don't see benefits for those of us. Reason number 4, it seems like a road for the rich. I like to call it the rich man's way, or the rich man's way, I suppose. DMV is already, DC, Maryland, Virginia, is a very expensive place to live, and now this will be an added burden for those of us who can't really afford to live here. Reason number 5, this toll tax is unjust. Why tax one segment and not the other, who both use the road during peak times? If this proposal does go through, one should be taxed no matter whether they use it in peak directions, but should apply to peak travel times. Reason number 6, Civics 101, what they taught us in school. Don't our taxes already pay for road infrastructure? Where is our money now going? We increased the sales tax in 2013 to cover these much needed infrastructure changes and road improvements, et cetera. All right. 7, I believe that peak rush hours will now extend an additional 2 hours each way due to the changes in the peak rush hour times. How will those unable to afford the tolls now get to work? Good luck for Arlington and the neighborhoods and local roads along 66. I feel like, reason number 8, the benefits are for the few and the costs for the many.
Ma'am.
That's it. I did try to even cycle to work back in May, and it was nearly 40 miles from Ashburn to DC. That wasn't an option, so we really need solutions that work for all of us and not just the few.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Milner, and then Kwong Hai would be after Mr. Milner.
Okay, number 1, we have to stop lying. If you want the traffic to move, you have to build roads. There's no such thing as multimodal solving the problem. If you build the roads, the buses have a perfect place to drive just like the cars. Trains, as Consumer Reports reported in the 80s, are not cost effective anywhere in the world. They just aren't. Buses can be in high density areas, but trains never are. And so we spent $2 billion or something building out the Dulles. Could have built some roads. And so now that train that carries very few people compared to one lane of traffic would have carried far more than that train carries. So that makes no sense at all. Trains are never cost effective. Why are we taxing people to drive cars, which they already paid for the road, and then give money to the Metro? So the people who are getting chauffeured around don't have to do the work of driving, are being paid for by the people who drive cars. What? That's the most dishonest thing I ever heard. HOV is for people who live a long way away. That's what its advantage is. So you're trying to help people who live a long way away come in, because they're the ones that use HOV. They have a long distance to go. So the people who live local get screwed. They can't use the road because you're helping people who live a long way away. Everybody should get the same right in that road. If they want to live a long way away, that's their business, not ours. 66 inside the Beltway is supposed to be 4 lanes. And because of a stupid court case, and Arlington being a big part of it, they didn't build 4 lanes. So build 4 lanes. Arlington, instead of doing the right thing and building the traffic so they can handle it, they've added 50,000 people to their, or about 50,000 people to their population. I think Fairfax is doing the same thing, but so did DC, both of which need roads. So if you have a problem on 66 inside the Beltway, have Arlington build the roads, because they put the load on them. No one else. They put those big buildings so people have to drive there to get work. I guarantee if you change your job and it's downtown Arlington, you're going to have to drive there. You have no choice. Very few people can use Metro. That makes absolutely no sense. So what do you need to do? Either DC and Arlington need to reduce their population by 40, 50,000, or they need to get stepped up and start building roads. They need we don't need HOV. HOV makes no sense at all anyway. It doesn't help anybody except people who live a long way away. And if you want taxes, stop taking money and giving it to Metro and use that money for the roads. And then tax Metro like you would tax any business. And we'd have more money for roads. Why Metro gets a deal, I'm beyond me. If anybody says Metro is a good idea, they're wrong. And let's get the 4 lanes inside the Beltway, because that's obvious a problem. That's one reason the 66 jumps on the 495, is because they can't get into Arlington or to DC, because they've got this ridiculous thing. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Kwong Hai, and then Mr. Robert Whitfield. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Kwong Hai from Dunloring. In the current I-66 preferred alternative, my home will still be one of the 11 homes to be completely taken by eminent domains. Also, there are more than 160 partial takings on the map that are greatly impacting Dunloring, Vienna communities. We have met VDOT yesterday. VDOT admitted that they still have not analyzed the do no harm alternative that our communities have proposed last spring. Many concerns have still not been addressed so far. The taking of these homes in Dunloring are not for expanding I-66. VDOT takes these homes to widen Gallows Road from Dunloring to Tyson's Corner. The I-66 expansion only requires Gallows Road Bridge to be elongated but not widened. Please request VDOT to re-evaluate the need to widen Gallows Road as part of this project, as it is unnecessary. One, it has no relation to improving congestion on I-66. Two, it will add unnecessary costs and environmental impact to the project. Three, it will induce more cars on the street that runs through Dunloring, our transit-friendly, walk and bicycle-accessible residential neighborhood and schools. It makes Gallows Road harder to cross for hundreds of commuters, families, children attending Stanwood Elementary and Kilmer Middle School every day. Congratulations, everyone here. USA Today has ranked DC metro area #1 in the cities with the worst traffic in 2015. It came up from rank #9 in 2013 and rank #8 in 2014. Can't you see that the express lanes are not working? We need mass transit, otherwise we'll continue to be the defending champion for the years to come. Even I-66 needs to be improved. Co-managed lanes should not be the top choice of implementation. As we can see, Virginia has wasted billions of dollars building the 495-95 express lanes, where drivers are paying tolls to move faster to the bottlenecks a few miles further down. Most people have already foreseen this same situation in the Transform 66 project, where drivers pay high price for toll to get to the Beltway, but hit the bottleneck at the I-66 inside the Beltway that will not be widened according to VDOT's plans for I-66 inside the Beltway. Use your judgment. Save my home, save Virginia. Please. Here's a note that my son gave me before I came here. VDOT, I do not want you to take my home because I want to go to the school Stanwood Elementary until 6th grade. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Whitfield, and then Ronald Wilcox. Good evening, sir.
CTB members, I'm Rob Whitfield, and over the last decade I've gone to over 3,000 meetings on transportation and land use, and including this afternoon's CTB meeting, which a lot of new information was presented, including what's called an HB 599 evaluation. Much of this information is technical in nature, but most of the public never sees or hears this information. I've never been involved in a project before where the information is not available at public libraries. The NVTC, which conducted the 2012 and managed the 2012-2013 study, Bob Chase and I attended one of those public meetings. I never received any notification of the draft and the final plan. And so it's little wonder that I don't trust the NVTC to manage this process. After all, they were created as an entity to help get Metro to Northern Virginia. The motto of MVTC used to be think outside the car. its website now is novatransit.org. And I raised several years ago, I've been going to the NVTC meeting since 2009, and in their 50 years, they've never supported a highway project. They are all about transit. In fact, Jeff McKay more or less said that the other night. So it's absolutely unconscionable to think of having a toll project, which is revenues to be managed by an entity, most of whose members hate automobiles. So I just, I've got prepared remarks. The most important problem is that the present proposal does nothing to address the fundamental major problem of inbound traffic congestion on I-66 at night. Okay, now, Governor McAuliffe may be doing a non-political act by not tolling the residents of Arlington County and DC, but to most of us who live outside the Beltway, this looks very political. So they held 4 public hearings in October, and I attended 3 of the 4. There were over 400 people, and at one point somebody said to the people in the audience, how many people here favor this proposal? And in the room, only 3 hands went up. So how many people in this room favor this proposal? Okay, so we have a dozen. I've dealt also with the NVTA, which has a far more established public input and participation process. What happens at NVTC meetings, you have the elected supervisors and town council people, and they do their thing. The public is nowhere to be seen. Once a year, you get allowed 3 minutes. They didn't even do that last year. So I will be submitting some further comments to you, but I would ask that you not have NVTC be in charge of collecting tolls.
Thank you. Well, thank you, sir. We'll take your comments. Mr. Wilcox, and then Henry Bartholomew.
Mr. Secretary.
Good evening, sir.
Members of the Commonwealth Transportation Board and the public. My name is Ron Wilcox. I'm with the Coalition for Freeways, and we do not support this project. This project is particularly with inside the Beltway. If I was to design in my mind a way to clog up all of the roads inside the Beltway, I would put tolls inside the Beltway on 66. It is a problem. It is a self-digging hole. You have 5 years of debt that you have to pay those tolls back. This is a transportation problem you're creating, not a transportation solution. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, sir. Henry Bartholomew, or Mew, if I don't have that exactly right, and then Brian Zelli. Good evening, sir.
Hi, Henry Bartholomew. You had it right the first time. I was going to congratulate you for that. I'm a Falls Church resident, and I'm here to ask the Commonwealth and the board to reconsider the proposal that's been put forth. I listened to the October webcast session on the Inside the Beltway proposal, and basically what I heard, just to make sure everybody understands what's on the table, is converting I-66 inside the Beltway to a toll road, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon on weekdays, in both directions of travel, with unless you can meet an HOV3 standard. And the tolls would be variable, with them going as high as $8 to $9, and it sounded like they'd be unpredictably variable, so it'd be, surprise, here's your bill for what you're paying for today's commute, but it could be as high as one gentleman said, $17, $18 for a round trip for folks, and it would be collected and managed by a private toll collector. To me, as a citizen, somebody who's been involved with transportation and bicycle lane projects and so on over the years, that puts a middle person in the process, and that's taking funds that could be better used for direct transit improvements. I encourage the board to step back and what this will do is push traffic on the local streets. The presentations in October said, oh, that won't happen. That's nonsensical on its face. It'll penalize folks who can't afford the high tolls, and they'll have no choice but to go on the extra congested side streets. There's no accommodation for folks that use I-66 to get to the Dulles Access Road for airport transportation. It'll benefit the private collector. I encourage the board and the Commonwealth instead to step back and let's look at more incremental improvements to Metro Rail, to dedicated bus lanes and HOV3 lanes on I-66 inside and outside the Beltway. and other measures that would improve flow, but not do it in a way that jams the works, not this proposal. And a